I have this set up so that this is like a hands-on video. What we're going to do is prep 1 week of breakfast ready to go. Remember, you can do this the morning of. You do not need to prep an entire week at one time, but that's what we're going to do in this video so that you get your hands-on experience with all of the dishes. I'm making 4. I was only going to do 3, but my suggestion would be to pick about 2 of them, stick with those 2 throughout the week. I like to do protein donuts, so the Pro Nuts, and I do that once a week. I like to do that as my Sunday morning breakfast. And while I do the Pro Nuts, I make the banana bread. So I'll make 3 banana breads at the same time because that all has to go in the oven. So I have my oven turned on at 350. It's getting ready to go. I'm also going to do a chia pudding, and I'm going to also do an egg bake. That way you kind of have a lot of variety of things to choose. So let's just start off with the chia pudding. I'm going to set my stuff aside. Gather all ingredients, gather all supply. When you have it all ready to go, it makes things go a lot faster, okay? Because then all you have to do is put it away while your stuff is baking. Food scale, always. These are the containers that I had linked, but you can use mason jars for this. Stick it on your scale. Actually, an easier way to do this, keep that off right here, 0 it out. This is faster. We're gonna go, so the scale says -30. Oh, there we go. Okay, 0 it out again. -30. Chia is done. Put that aside. I can put that away. Protein powder. I'm using a chocolate protein powder. Again, let's put this beast on the scale. This is a 4-pound tub. I use a lot of this, so I buy the big tubs. Again, oops. Take your scoop out, 0 your scale out. We want, again, a -30. Add that to your jar. 0 out the scale again. We will go -30. It's almost a full scoop, but not quite. Okay, that's it. Now, at this point, you could add, we still need this for our other recipes, but at this point, you can add in water, 1 cup, or you could do like an unsweetened almond milk. But I love to really boost the protein up in this. So I am using a Nuri shake. I will use the entire thing. If you use water or almond milk, just use 240 milliliters or 1 cup. But I'm going to pour in about half, and then I want to just stir it up just to get that kind of mixing. This makes, using the Nuri, it is more than 240 milliliters, but it makes it super thick and really chocolatey and delicious. So I like to just kind of take this mid-session mix just to get that protein powder so it's not clumpy, okay? And then we will just pour the rest of it in. We're going to let that sit for a few minutes. Let's go to our other one. The chia will settle to the bottom, so that's why we want to wait a few minutes, but it will work perfect. So we'll do that. We'll start getting our other recipes together while that sits, and then we'll just re-stir. And all we have to do is pop it in the fridge. We'll let it sit. It can sit through the week or overnight or whatever. Just keep it cool. It's so delicious. Very high protein. So if you use the Nuri shake, you're going to get like 56 grams of protein, and it's under 300 calories. So then you could have options if you wanted to mix in some peanut butter or even PB2. You could use PB2 and really bounce that protein content even higher. lots of options. You can add fruit in with it. You can change the flavor of it. I mean, obviously, if you're using a chocolate protein shake, you might want to keep it in the realm of something that goes with chocolate, but I just see on the edges here I missed some. Okay, I'm going to let that just hang out. I'm going to throw these away. Recycle. Now, I have my tins for my egg bake and for my banana bread and my donut pan. So let's work on the Pro Nuts. I have my bowl. This is where we have some option. So you can use oats, 40 grams of oats. If you use oats, make sure to put them in a food processor or blender type bottle and get it all pureed up so it is like a flour. You want it really fine. I'm going to use Birch Benders pancake mix. You can use a gluten-free pancake mix, a keto pancake mix, a Hungry Jack pancake mix, Funfetti pancake mix, whatever you want. You can use flour, you can use like an all-purpose flour, you can use coconut flour. Options are endless. The texture will change just a little bit depending on what kind of flour you use. But like I said, I'm going to use a Birch Benders pancake mix here, 40 grams. So whatever it is that you use 40 grams. If you use a coconut flour, I would say go 35 grams just because it's a really super dense texture. So you might want a little bit less. Okay, 40 grams of that. And then I want 20 grams of protein powder. I'm just going to set that aside. I like to do the reverse weighing because it just goes a lot faster. Zero out my scale. I want it to say -20. That's perfect, right on the nose. I want to use about 2 tablespoons of confectioner's sugar. I'm using Swerve. This one's calorie free, but you can use a regular confectioner's sugar. Just be sure that you track it accordingly in your tracker. So 2 tablespoons. I love this stuff. I'm about out. I need to. Alexa, add Swerve confection sugar to Walmart.
Swerve confection sugar added to Walmart.
Woo. I'm going to do a teaspoon of baking powder. We want a dash of salt. So a dash is just like a little pinch-ish. Salt just helps bring out the flavor. You can do some, I want 60 grams of egg whites. You can do some extract here. Now extract is optional. I gotta get more egg whites here too. That was 43 grams. So we want a total of 60. There we are. And then we want 120 grams of canned pumpkin. Make sure it is pumpkin puree and not pumpkin pie filling. They are different. They will have a very different outcome. So again, I will just reverse weigh this. 120. Now I have found that if you use an off-brand, I do not like it as much. Oddly, it has a lot more moisture in it. So the Libby's brand is far superior in my opinion. You do not taste the pumpkin in this recipe. So anybody that doesn't like pumpkin stuff, it's okay. The pumpkin is mainly there for the texture of these donuts and for just the consistency of them, okay? If you are super opposed to pumpkin or an allergy or something, there we go, it's mixed up. You could use something like a Greek yogurt, banana. It will change the macros a bit. just make sure to track it appropriately, and it might change the texture. So I do want a little bit of extract, which again, I'm kind of falling behind on my little, I just do a little blip, like 1/4 of a teaspoon. Just because this is a small recipe, we do not need a whole ton of extract in here. Now, one of the ways that I love to put this in my pan is to get a piping bag and just pipe it in, but I'll just use a spoon here today. This will fill 4 donut things, and my donut tin, I do not need to spray it. They kind of look a little ugly as you start, but you can always smooth them out. I just try to keep the center open. If you don't have a donut pan, that's okay. The donut pan just makes it a lot of fun. You could use a cupcake tin or something in place of this, but I got this donut pan on Amazon for pretty darn cheap, and I will say it has 100% been worth my small investment, because I have used the snot out of this thing. But like I said, you can use even a Ziploc baggie and put the batter in a little Ziploc and, you know, cut a hole in the tip to help get the batter into your tin. But these will bake at 350 for about 18-ish minutes. And our bread will go 30, maybe a little bit more than 30 minutes, but I just stick them in at the same time. So banana bread coming up next. Just want to make sure to get my... We will save the rest of this pumpkin because we could make more donuts. Now, I would make more donuts. You can definitely make these up ahead of time, and you can make more. Since I only have 4 containers or 4 slots for them, I don't have the patience, I guess, to make a whole bunch of recipes. I could just probably buy another donut pan and be able to make a couple extra recipes at a time. They do, you can refrigerate them so they keep well. I know I have had clients that will put them in the air fryer to reheat them, and then they get a little bit of a crunch on them. Yum. Okay, we're going to also make a frosting for that. I'm just gonna set my bowl aside. I'm licking my spoon because I'm the only one that's gonna eat this stuff anyway. Okay, so there's our donut pan. I just have this big cookie sheet over here. We're gonna set it on there because I'm going to also do the banana breads. So these are the containers on Amazon. These are 1-pound containers. These are bigger than a mini loaf pan, obviously smaller than a regular loaf pan. So if you make this recipe, it just doesn't work very well to do a mini loaf pan. And what I do, I just buy the things on Amazon and then I reuse them. So you can see this one's kind of dirty. I'm just reusing it. So yeah, that's it. I do spray them a little bit. I just use an avocado oil, going to spray, non-stick spray. Okay, banana bread. You can make this really easy on yourself and use a blender and do several servings at a time. So I can fit 6 servings in a blender. I'm going to do 3, but I will do it in my little bullet here. And we are turned on. Let me just scooch this. And while this is in the oven, we're going to make our frosting for our donuts. So with our banana bread, this one I do use the oats since they're going in the food processor. I do like to put liquid in first, And oh my gosh, you guys, I am not ready. I forgot my egg. I have to go get my egg. Hold tight. If you're following along, put your egg in your blender. I super apologize for that. Okay, 1 egg into the blender. I just like to have the liquid at the bottom. It just helps when it's going to stir everything up. Then we want 100 grams of banana. Always best to use a banana that is going bad. So typically I have those around the house, or I'll stop at the store and get red tape bananas. So they're cheaper, which is nice. 100 grams of that baby, which is depending on your banana size. If you have small bananas, it will probably be about the entire banana. If you have a large banana, it's going to be like, that's all I have left of this one. But a large banana will probably be about 3/4 of the banana. Then I want to do 40 grams of oats. Again, you could use a pancake mix here, but I really like to use whole foods when possible. 30 grams of protein powder. I really like to use vanilla protein powder here, but I'm out of vanilla, so we're using chocolate. I do like the chocolate version. So again, 30 grams, that's 25, 30 grams. We are going to do 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And once you pull together one recipe, the next recipes like go super fast. Another dash of salt right here. I've just got a pinch going in, dash of salt. And then we want about 1/4 cup of water, or you can use an almond milk. It doesn't matter. 1/4 cup is the same as 4 tablespoons. So instead of getting another dish dirty, I just go like so. That's it. We are going to blend this up, and we will repeat this process. But like I said, if you use a blender, you can just multiply this by however many servings you're going to do. We just want to blend this up. And we will pour into our dish, okay? So like I said, I'm going to do this now 3 times in a row because I'm not using a blender. Where's my spatula? Oh. Oop, I got pumpkin on my spatula. I don't care if I like mixing these things up. It's not going to taste or make a difference. I just don't like to create a whole ton of dishes. You know what I'm saying? Cut. There's 1. Okay. Stick that on. Let's do that. I'm going to do that 2 more times. So you guys can do that on your own. Just pause this video until you have all of your banana breads done, and then we will come back and do the frosting. Okay, I just popped all of that into the oven. Set it 18 minutes for the donuts, and then I'll let the banana bread keep going until it's done. I rinsed out my bowl, so rinse out your bowl that you had all the pumpkin stuff in. I want to show you, this is the banana bread. This one I've just cut up into pieces, but your serving is the entire loaf, which is insane. And I have these lids for it. This one I popped in my freezer. This just came out of the freezer. These freeze so well. You can microwave them, you can air fry them, you can just let them sit at room temperature to thaw, whatever. Versatile. I mean, they're so great to stick into a purse and take along to a sporting event or whatever. So These are amazing. Cut it up, put it in a Ziploc. Kids love it as well. So I'm just setting aside all the things that we don't really need anymore, which is a lot of it, a lot of our stuff. We are going to make the frosting now. Again, I'm not prepared because I need my water, but hold up. See our pudding? Let's give that a stir. The reason why we want to stir after a few minutes is because those seeds want to settle at the bottom. And you can, I mean, it's not the end of the world because you can mix it up when you're ready to eat it and it's fine. But let's give it a stir. You might notice some clumping already happening. I just like to use a fork here and then it mashes those clumps up if you have any in there. And then we will stick that in the fridge. That Nuri chocolate shake, oh my gosh, it just adds so much to this. So I used to make this with water or almond milk, but I just did it with the Nuri shake the other day and it was so stinking good. Again, you can reuse these containers just like I reuse these tin ones, but these are also nice if you have to travel or something and you don't want to bring your glassware with. And you guys, chia makes you poop like a champ. Seriously, your poop will be amazing. All right, I'm going to stick the lids on this and we can pop those in the fridge, but I will walk you through the frosting before I stick those in my refrigerator. I just love these little containers. I'm not a huge fan of plastic, but they sure do the trick for short term. Okay, keep licking my fork. Wipe up my mess. I'm a clean cook, like I get messy, but I'm a clean cook. Like I have to have a nice clean space. Okay, so let's do our frosting for the Pro Nuts. Carrie's sugar-free syrup. I'm gonna walk you through a couple ways to do this, but Carrie's sugar-free syrup, this one's 5 calories. A lot of the other sugar-free syrups are 15 calories, but do not use Walden Farms. Walden Farms does not work very well. The liquid content in it is too high. So 32 grams of this. I'm just dumping it into, I have a little dish here on my scale. Perfect. You see my little dish, okay? And we are going to do 14 grams of our protein powder in here. Again, I should be reverse weighing this. Just makes it much easier to reverse weigh. I have a new scale coming today and I'm excited about it because I do not like this one. Okay, and then we want cocoa powder. This is really good. If you get your hands on some black cocoa powder, ooh, talk about nice and rich. Actually, I'm gonna put that, I'm gonna reverse weigh this one. So we want 10 grams, which is going to be about a big old tablespoon-ish of it. Okay. And then we want to do 10 grams of water. And instead of water, and we want a dash of salt because again, salt brings out the flavor. Do not skip the salt, especially if you're ever using chocolate. I'm just going to use almond milk since I don't have water ready, but 15 grams of this. Oops, I did 20. Which is okay, because it's just for the donuts. But this, okay, so this is a chocolate sauce. I should have used a little bit bigger of a container, but this goes really good on top of the donuts, but it's also great as a snack, okay? Obviously there's protein in it because of the protein powder, but this goes really nice on some rice cakes with some peanut butter. I've used this just with peanut butter and made, you know, it's like chocolate and peanut butter together, right? Like a delicious Reese's, but it's just got protein in it. It is so delicious. This goes well over, you can thin it out even more if you wanted to, and use it on top of like a protein ice cream for a chocolate sauce, whatever. See, I'm spilling because my container here is just too small. Normally I use a little bit bigger of a bowl. I don't even know why I pulled this one. But the longer it sits, the thicker it gets. So usually what I'll do is make this and then I just store it in my fridge. I'll make a bunch of single serves of this. So it's not just for the protein donuts, but if you are somebody that has a sweet tooth and you love chocolate, make this. It's so easy. This would be already stirred if I would have been using my bigger container for it that I should have been using. But just stir it up until it's smooth. And like I said, as it sits, it will thicken up. I don't necessarily need it thick for the donuts, but when I want to eat it as a snack, sometimes I want it thicker depending on what I'm using it for. Okay. Amazing. Okay. I lost a little bit of cocoa powder and protein powder there, but that's okay. All right. So that's that. Now we can get started on our egg dish. So I do eggs, cottage cheese. You don't taste the cottage cheese in there. So anybody that's like, I don't like cottage cheese, or you don't like the texture of cottage cheese, it's okay. You don't taste it or feel the texture when it goes into your eggs. It just makes the egg bake a little bit creamier. So I have these 2 tins. I would like to get these going so I can pop them in the oven while I still have the oven on, okay? I will do a quick little spray. I'm done with this, I'll set that aside. Okay, 200 grams of egg whites. Now you can do all of this at one time. So if you want to make one huge recipe, just do the weights one time. So if you want 2 recipes, it's 400 grams of this. If you want 3 recipes, 600 grams, you get the idea. I'm going to do 2 separate ones. So I will do 200 grams of egg whites. Veggies of choice. Okay, so this is why we have our veggies over here. Make it simple for yourself, okay? Let's season our eggs, salt and pepper. You can use frozen veggies, you can use fresh veggies, you can use veggies that you have already prepped. It does not matter. Okay, so I'm going to get this set up and then we will get started on the eggs. I'm going to add 50 grams of cottage cheese. I use a 2% cottage cheese here typically, okay? But 50 grams, it's not a ton, but it's going to help add some protein and just creaminess to your recipe. All right, again, veggies of choice. I'm going to do mushrooms, red pepper, and tomatoes, and some garlic. So let's just chop those up. At the beginning of the week, I had to get some peppers. I've got carrots, celery. I chop them up and just keep them in a container. Makes recipes coming together a lot faster. So I'm doing enough so that I can make 2 egg bakes here. I'm gonna do all the veggies in 1 serving, and then I'm going to turn my pan on. So get your pan heated up. Now you can use oil in your pan. If you do that, be sure to just track how much you're using. So I'll use some so that you can see how I do that. And cut your veggies, kind of how you want to have them, but you can have them in strips, chunks, whatever. Like I said, keep it simple. You can do frozen veggies. these cherry tomatoes right now at Costco. They're so good. They're very, very sweet. So I'm not weighing my veggies or tracking them. Normally I do, and I do ask my clients to track them, not for caloric purposes, but just for micronutrient purposes to see where you're at for especially fiber in your day, but it's kind of nice to track them. So if you want to track here, you can, but if you're just trying to get some food pulled together, don't worry too much about it. I've got garlic here. I'm going to chop that up, mince it up. You can use just the stuff in a jar, just minced garlic. Keep it simple if you want. You don't even have to use garlic. I just happen to love it. And I just drop some on the floor. And I don't want the dog to get it because dogs can't have garlic, okay? Okay, let me show you how to do the oil. We do a reverse way. So again, I have my oil. I'm going to put that on the scale. It's really not going to take much. This is a non-stick pan. That's 5 grams of oil, so I will record in my tracker 2.5 grams, because remember, this is going to go over 2 servings. I'm going to put the garlic in last because that can burn. So let's start with our peppers and mushrooms and tomatoes. I also have spinach, and I'll add that in at the end as well. And we have cheese. You can season your veggies if you wish, but remember we've seasoned the eggs, so we don't need to add a ton of seasoning to our veggies. Let's get that to cook down. And you don't have to cook it all the way down because remember it's going into our egg bake and it is going to bake in the oven. Okay, zero out my scale. I want 28 grams of cheese. I like to use, well, this is Gruyere. I like to use cheddar, but I like to use hard cheese because the cheese that is already shredded for us in a package has a coating on it, and you know what, we don't really need to be eating that coating, but we also it changes the texture of the cheese, it changes how the cheese melts, everything. So just getting this cooked down a little bit. Like I said, not a ton. I'm going to add that garlic in. And we can add in some spinach. Again, the veggies you choose here does not matter. When you bake this in the oven, and I do the same thing with my banana bread, you know how I put it on a cookie sheet? We do want to do that with this egg bake because sometimes it will bubble over your container. Now if you don't have these, you can use, again, muffin pans work great for this. Little individual sizes. Just pay attention to how many muffin cups you make because that's one serving, right? If you have other like little individual baking dishes, that works. You could even use a 9x13 pan if you're going to do several of these. Maybe you make 3 servings and then just put it in a 9x13 pan. That works. And then you just divide that amongst 3 servings as evenly as possible. Okay. Veggies are done. All I'm doing, I'm going to mix up my eggs. Egg whites. Oh, donuts are done, I think. So while this just cools slightly, I'm going to check on the donuts. Okay, my donuts are done. I added about 8 more minutes to my banana bread, and then I'll check it. You just want to make sure that when you put a toothpick in it, it comes out clean. Okay, that's about half my veggies. I'll put that in to this container. Give her a mix. Okay. Repeat this, just throw our veggies into there. And 28 grams of cheese. Perfect. 50 grams of cottage cheese. And 200 grams of egg whites. Oh, exact. Well, 206. I have maybe a drip left in there. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. And there we have 2 egg bakes ready to go. I'm going to go add this to the oven with the banana bread. This will take probably a half hour, but you want to make sure it'll look a little bit kind of like soft in the center, but we just want to make sure it's cooked through. So there we go, 2 egg bakes. Let's toss that in the oven, and then we will frost our donuts. Okay, so I've got my donuts, and we can top it with the frosting. So if you find that you just don't want this frosting or it's too rich, just take some powdered sugar or Swerve powdered sugar, add in just a smidge of almond milk or water, and mix it to just a real, slight like runny consistency. You can drizzle that over your donuts. If you have extra room in your calories, feel free to top these with something like a Fit butter or a peanut butter. Absolutely amazing. I'm actually going to save my chocolate and have that later as a snack. And I think I am going to put some powdered sugar and a little bit of almond milk as a drizzle on top of mine for today. That is breakfast. Now we're just waiting for the oven. When you store your pumpkin, the rest of your pumpkin, be sure to take it out of the can, put it in a glass jar with a lid. We don't want to be storing cans, especially cans that have been opened in our refrigerator. That could make us extremely sick. But that's it. Now there is 2 egg bakes. There are 3 breads and donuts. That'll get you through the whole week. And then you'll do the next prep day. You can make donuts again. But there I just showed you, right? 1. Oh, and chia pudding. We have chia pudding in there. So another 2 things. So I just showed you 4 breakfast options. Like I said, just pick 1 or 2, nail those down, and yeah, keep it simple. You can always build on it, but just start with establishing a baseline. And I ended up opting for just a smidgen of the chocolate sauce. Then I took powdered PB2, mixed it with just a smidgen of almond milk, and made a chocolate peanut butter drizzle.